Hey guys, this is SpeakerFreak95, and if you've seen this video here of this loudspeaker system, there was some questions concerning the amplification that those speakers originally used. Now, I already made a video about this amp over there, and I'm going to go ahead and make this better one with a better camera and much more details. I got that for free with a few other Altec products, and it's an incremental power system. It has 8 discrete amplifier channels, 75 watts each. It's modular. You can add up the amplifier channels, bridge them, or do whatever you want really. And I have all the information that I probably would need to set it up, because I got it working. I replaced all the electrolytic capacitors on each board and in the power supply. The only caps I didn't replace are these big fat filter caps, which are still good. Now, there's a reasoning to my madness here. Each individual speaker has its own amplifier. Each gets 75 watts. And I did that because I just wanted a good high power speaker system for each channel. So there's 8 speakers here. Each has its own amplifier channel. Now, my concern was the amplifiers. I'll just go ahead and take the front off and show you what I have concerned with. And I need to get these little special lug connectors on here, but I've got it kind of wrapped around on there. There's a problem with channel 2. I don't know if it's the transistors acting up or loose connection possibly. When I turn that on, this speaker here is on channel 2, and basically it makes a lot of noise. After it warms up, it's fine, just like the rest of them. Now, the only way I can tell this is working is there's the smallest amount of hum in each channel, and there's the background hiss, like the kind of sound like you hear out of a tweeter or something. Each one is doing that, so I know that the amplifiers are at least working that much. I just don't know what I would do about the inputs. You got balanced and you got unbalanced and stuff like that. It's just so confusing. And this explains about it, but it's just a whole lot of information I gotta take in. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Now, you'll probably hear some popping and stuff. That's when the amplifiers are turning on. When you turn it on, you gotta wait momentarily for the amplifier's main relay to click. That channel makes the noise before the relay clicks and while it's clicking. It may not have made any sense there, but just expressing my concerns here. It's the only channel that does it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on now. That's substantially worse than it was before.
Keep it down, please.
As you see, that's this channel here. I'm not pleased about it at all. But you get real close to it, it's got that background hiss, like all the rest of the channels have. Go ahead and remove the 4 screws. They're just on there nice and loose. Damn it. Now, when they removed this, it wasn't working correctly. And it says on that service note that it was repaired for a spare, so it was said, tested under load okay. Well, when I got it, it was full of bad capacitors. Here it is with the front off. All amplifier cards are in. This is the switching matrix I'm concerned with. I'm not exactly sure how I would set that up. There's little micro dip switches on the front, and there's all kinds of switches in the back. There's 4 volume controls. Yeah, I've already tried hooking up some things to it. I don't get anything out of it. And for some reason, the first amplifier chip card has these thermistors on there, soldered to it. Looks like it was aftermarket. But each channel's working, and I checked the transistors when I replaced the thermal grease on them. They're all good. So I think it might be just a dirty connection, or possibly the relay might be chattering. I've seen that before. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. It's gonna make that noise again. Oh, okay. There it goes.
Hey, Jordan.
And basically, we'll just take this. Well, let's try channel 2. I took each and every single one and modified it for 8 ohms. It did this, it made that crackling noise before. I changed it over as well, so that makes no difference. It's this kind of amplifier here, 75 watts. You got the main power output transistors, and you got the main drivers. If you look really closely, you can see the new thermal grease I put on there. I think this might be what's causing the issue. I'm not sure. And it says board 2, bad. And there was a capacitor placed on. I put new electrolytics on them. And when I got it, the fuse was popped. That's why I wrote fuse on it. Also numbered them. You see the back. And let's take a look at one of these matrix cards. They're very hard to pull out with one hand. Let me get the let's just check out the volume control section first. That's all it is. See, I'm figuring that the noise could be coming from this part here, or it could be any of these transistors that might be noisy. After it stops making that noise, it straightens up and it's fine. But I'm just not exactly sure why it would be. I know that's definitely not normal, because the rest of the channels are completely dead silent, except for the occasional pop and crack when you turn it on, which is normal, I would think. Let me go ahead and pull out the matrix card. Okay, so here's the matrix card itself. There's 2 of these in here. And from basically what the little bit of information I was able to comprehend from the manual, it says that this is responsible for some type of volume control, possibly, and switching inputs and outputs and stuff like that. And I have no clue how to set this up. It doesn't really give you an idea how to hook it up or turn it on or manipulate these dip switches. And I don't know why, but I went through and put all of them back down to the off position. You can see which one was on. It's channel 6 there, or number 6. And I'm using these amplifier outputs in independent mode, 8 ohms each. And these would average be 16 ohms, but I had to, I did actually correctly do this. You have to take these 2 jumpers on these boards and cut them. There's one here, there's one up here you have to cut, and I just left them like that so you can easily resolder them and make them back into 16 ohms. You also have to take the top off and mess with the transformer taps back there. I'll even show you what I had to do. I don't remember which page it's on. Oh, there it is. You had to switch these terminals here on TB101 here. Pretty simple stuff. But the thing is I have this in independent mode. And as far as I know, that's the way it was hooked up. I have no clue. I didn't ask. And I noticed that these bigger switches it says bridge. I don't know if the crackling noise will be coming from this because it's in bridge mode and I'm running it independent. I don't know what would happen if I go ahead and just start switching stuff, because I really don't want to pop this. I mean, this would be the last thing I want to pop, I mean, anytime. So, if anyone has any information or any expertise on the matrix, because it's not working because I have all the switches in the off position. That's what I'm guessing. You can see right here. I've also noticed that these outboard chips get really warm whenever it's on for the shortest amount of time. They get warm. As you can see, I put new electrolytics on here because the old ones were just old. So if anyone has any information on these, I would really love to know what anyone has to say about this. But this is the model number. It's called the Incremental power system. The volume control is the 2220. This is the matrix card, 2252 SA. Amplifier cards are 2275. And I just don't know what to do here. I mean, there's nothing I can do with it until I figure out how to configure the inputs on this. I'm gonna go ahead and put these back. When I got this, the bridge switches were engaged, so that's the way I left them. And I just don't know what to do about that because it's not in bridged mode, and it gives you some decent information. It's just, it's hard for me to comprehend. See, it talks about the different things and different loads. I don't know how they had this system hooked up. It's not in bridge mode, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and take these out of bridge mode, because I know they have, per cluster, they have both sides 8 horns, like just regular 290 series drivers, 16 ohms each, and I don't know if they had them in bridge or what. I don't know what the point of that was, but I'm gonna go ahead and take these out of bridge. Both cards are that way, and fire it up, see what happens, I guess. I mean, it's pretty much the only thing I can do. Yeah, and then the first card also has these thermistors on there. I don't know if that's normal. Don't know what that's about. It was on there when I got it, and when I recapped it, I just soldered them back on because I didn't know what it would do without those on there. This is the one giving us trouble. And obviously it's on an independent mode. Each speaker is getting fed by its own amplifier. So something blows up in my face, it'll be on camera. It's the last thing I want to happen. It'll really ruin my day if this thing explodes in my face. I don't think it will. Perhaps it might even correct that issue, but it's either some kind of transistor issue, and that's not really a problem. Could be this right here making noise. I've seen that happen with these relays, and a few of these relays have been replaced. Some of them are slightly different. Some of them are Omrons, and some of them are these generic ones like this. I don't even know what brand name that is. So let me go ahead and see what it'll do without being in bridged mode. I have to take this card out and manipulate the switches. Here's the other card, and as you can see, taking them out of bridge mode. I also noticed when I first got this, I did make a note that the most random switches were up. Like 2 was in the up position, 1 right here was in the up position. That was it for there. Number 1 here was up because you can see the clean part. I can't tell here, but you know, these are also real easily moved. They were like this, 3 on one direction, 3 on the other direction, both sides. Wish me luck. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Basically, I took those out of the bridge position. It might have been while I was getting nothing out of it. I hooked up a cable and I was touching the end of it, see if I get any hum out of it. I know it's not a real good way to test things, but I had the volume controls up pretty high. I think it's those dip switches on the back side of the board that has something to do with the configuring of the inputs. That's going to make a real loud noise again if I had to guess, so let me go ahead and do that. Well, nothing's exploding, and it's doing the same thing over again. And I think I don't want to pull it out when it's in circuit, because I know that can be really hard on some of these things. Let me go to each speaker, see if I'm getting any hiss out of it. That's the way I tell. These things have pretty nice tweeters in them. So let me go ahead and see real quick. That one's working. I think that's channel 1. I'm not getting anything at all out of that one. That one's working. Of course, that one's working. I'm not hearing anything out of that one. Same thing with that one, but the crossovers in those are dead. It's just so hard to tell. I could always, see, I got channel 1 right here. I can... Oh! Okay, so it is working. So now that it's no longer in bridge mode, tomorrow when I get some time, I'm gonna, I guess, I don't think it'll hurt it, since the amplifiers are working and taking the load of 8 ohms per channel itself just fine. I think manipulating the switches and messing with the inputs, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm gonna read that a few times over and over again. See, there it talks about the, okay. So it says output matrix switches. There's the banks of switches. There's the bridging switch. There's the switch I just orientated on both cards. And there's the switches we just saw. Input switching matrices. I don't know what that's doing. It talks about it here. And then you got circuits. It's just all kind of too much for me to comprehend all at once. That's just the way I am at ADHD and stuff. And just now I'm afraid to turn it off because it makes some more noise again. But this is the time you want to take your headphones and turn them down, because I am going to give you a real example of what that speaker sounds like when I turn it off. I know that amplifier card's probably not working correctly. It's probably not supposed to make that noise, but here we go. I'm about to hold the speaker up here, or the camera up here. I really hope you've turned the volume down. Well, that time it made a pop out of that one over there. So, when I turn them off, you can hear popping from different channels at different times. Different times the capacitors that I discharge. But that's about it for this video. I just want to know if anyone's ever worked on these, because my main intention with this was to run it as a subwoofer amplifier in 2 ohm mode, because you can bridge all this together and get 600 watts total, which is kind of cool. And I know of some subwoofers I can hook up to it, and that's basically my main thing with it. But if I can figure out how to use it with 8 different channels, that could also be useful. So if anyone has any information at all, like if you've ever installed these and messed with them, you know anyone who's out there who's worked for Altec Lansing before they shut down, please let me know if you have any information at all on these via inbox message, not on personal message, not on YouTube comments, video comments. I don't always see them all, so if I don't reply to your comments, I apologize, but you know, it's just the way it is. YouTube is screwed up. Thanks for watching this video. Let's take one more look at this picture here. This is the one I have. And I don't know. I just don't know. And I have all the information that I probably would need to set it up, because I got it working. I replaced all the electrolytic capacitors on each board and in the power supply. The only caps I didn't replace are these big fat filter caps, which are still good. Now, there's a reasoning to my madness here. Each individual... I'll just go ahead and take the front off and show you what I have concerned with. And I need to get these little special lug connectors on here, but I've got it kind of wrapped around on there. There's a problem with channel 2. I don't know if it's the transistors acting up or loose connection possibly. When I turn that on, the speaker has its own amplifier. Each gets 75 watts. And I did that because I just wanted a good high power speaker system for each channel. So there's 8 speakers here, each has its own amplifier channel. Now, my concern was the amplifiers. Hey guys, this is Speaker Freak 95, and if you've seen this video here of this loudspeaker system, there was some questions concerning the amplification that those speakers originally used. Now, I already made a video about this amp over there, and I'm going to go ahead and make this better one with a better camera and much more details. I got that for free with a few other Altec products, and it's an incremental power system. It has 8 discrete amplifier channels, 75 watts each. It's modular. You can add up the amplifier channels, bridge them, or do whatever you want really.